While we're waiting, for those in the audience, there are copies of the agenda up here on the table if you'd like to follow us along.
Thank you.
Okay. That's it.
You're live.
Okay, would you kindly stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States of America. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next portion is the roll call. I see that all of us are present in person. And I believe the mayor is going to be a phone as the meeting progresses soon. We'll find out. Assistant Corporation Counsel was here as are the two administrative assistants. So show. The public portion, next would be the public portion. If anyone wishes to address the board and make comments to the board, try to come up to the center. There's a microphone at the center, state your name and address for the record, and then let us hear what you got to say. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to address the board? Okay, sir. You're most welcome.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Jerry Bloom, and I live over up on 24 Fairfield Avenue here. Yeah.
Could you spell your last name, please?
Pardon me?
Could you spell your last name?
BLOOM. Is this panel empowered to pass legislation here in town?
John,
What to say?
he's asking a question about legislative. We are the legislative.
Okay, good. Then I do urge you to do so. YouTube, we all know YouTube, right? YouTube has created a monster. They call themselves First Amendment auditors. Anyone heard of them? No? Well, they happen to be amongst the dregs of society. They claim to be First Amendment auditors in that they go around to post offices, police stations, town halls, etc., with their little cell phones and really make a nuisance of themselves. They ask questions over and over again. They become a major pain in the ass. They are ultimately asked to leave. However, they say, this is my First Amendment right to do this. It's a public. Anyway, the police are called. They come in. Sometimes they get arrested. Sometimes they don't. I'm suggesting that Shelton pass a law stating if you want to, no cell phones to be used here, there, wherever. I noticed here at City Hall, you have a sign in the tax office saying, please do not use a cell phone. However, they're going to tell you, well, that's a policy. That does not trump my First Amendment rights as a First Amendment journalist. Okay? Yes, I urge you to do so. They have been around. They've been over to the post office in Derby. They love post offices because of Poster 7, which they believe gives them the right to hang around post offices, well, do what they do. That's basically what I wish to urge you all to do. Pass a law, make it a law, not a policy. Okay?
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Good day.
Okay, is there anyone else from the public that wishes to address the board? If there is no one, close the public portion. To the agenda. As for approval, that's Board of Alderman meeting, regular meeting, June 9th, 2022.
Waive the reading and approve the following meeting minutes. Board of Alderman meeting, regular meeting, June 9th, 2022.
So
Motion made and seconded. I heard a motion, I heard a so moved.
Second.
So moved, is that a
Second.
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 That's a second, okay? Don't blame me for being technical, but it can be accurate. Discussion. Okay, no further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered unanimously. Item 5.1, Finance Committee, no items. 5.21, City Hall Security System and Alarm Coverage. Alderman Macy, this came from the Public Health and Safety Committee.
Sure.
Take the lead on it.
Okay, move to appropriate an amount of $49,600 for National Protective Systems Incorporated for a security system and alarm coverage at City Hall, Shelton City Hall, located at 54 Hill Street, with funding to come from
The American Rescue
the American Rescue Plan
Funds. And
funds.
further,
Further authorize Mayor Mark A. Loretti to execute any and all documents necessary to effectuate the same.
Second.
motion made and seconded, discussion, should be some discussion
Yeah.
on this, because as I understand it, we have a presentation.
Yeah, there was. So the presentation was by the company in the aforementioned motion, and they are doing what is going to be considered a pilot security system. It's very technical. Teresa sent us all the information that we had to keep confidential. So I can't go into detail too much because we're public, but it's to benefit both City Hall, and then our plans are to implement something similar eventually into the school systems. That's the whole point. The police officers were present. They are well aware of this type of technology. They were very for it. It would be real time. They would get warnings before things would occur. It's not physical barriers, it's hardwired. The employees will have fobs and things like that. And they did invite us to go to a school. Unfortunately, then subsequent to that, I know you weren't there because you had personal stuff going on, but we can go to a school and do a tour of the one they implemented. I can't recall it off the top of my head, but I think it's forward thinking. No, it's New Canaan. No, it wasn't New Canaan.
It's up.
It's up, it wasn't New Canaan. But in any event, I think it's showing that Shelton is thinking ahead and going forward, and this was a structure that they could do this with. There were a lot of questions, so please read that. Because everything was documented in that, and we could reach out directly to the company as well. So, and many of us were present at, because it was a street committee meeting, and people did join and come. So there were a lot of questions, so it'd be good to review it. If you have any subsequent questions, we could reach out to the company directly. Okay.
Discussion.
I'd like to say that I was actually, I was there and participated in the discussion. The company was very forthright, did show us everything goes on how it works, how they're going to, they showed us how they're going to wire the building, things like that. And it was very well presented, and they definitely want to expand with us. The police officers do know some of the officers from the other city where it was implemented, and they were very happy with the system.
Just out of curiosity, did we reach out to them or did they reach out to us?
They reached out to us initially.
Okay. And are they, so Madison, I think you said might be
I
the,
thought you said
Yeah,
Madison.
but
It was somewhere out that way.
they have 9 other schools. I
9 other
believe,
schools?
I believe it was 9 other school systems. Again, I thought she was printing that out, so I didn't bring the one I printed at home.
The presentation they made to us was focused on kind of what they were going to do here as a pilot program at City
Right.
Hall. It was not focused on their other locations. However, the one thing that made their system, their sole source technology system different from the others is that it was radio.
Yeah, so it's a radio frequency as opposed to what, the medical
Yeah.
center I work at, we rolled out a wireless system that has dead spots and it's not the best optimal.
It was like a point.
Yeah.
It's pinpoint.
Yeah.
It was the feeling that they generated in the presentation that came across is that once you lock on to the perpetrator, you have a continuing link. It doesn't, you don't lose because of Wi-Fi or something
Right.
else. And that was what really drew our attention to the quality of what they had to offer over others. And then there were other things like that, does this have a use in the school system? We're gonna have to defer to our school people for that, obviously. However, we'll be able to be a good test here. And it's not a huge investment. That's the
If I
best,
may,
you know, the best.
Yeah. The other thing was that the campus that it's already working on in Connecticut, it covers over 64 acres, if I remember. It even works outside, so you don't, if something should happen on a ball field,
Right.
it could be responded to as if you're in the gymnasium. So
Right.
that was also a nice feature about
Well, with
it.
the radio frequency, it's more analog. That's
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one other thing is, but due to financial reasons, UB did have it implemented on their campus, but then financial issues, they had to suspend it, but they're possibly going to reactivate it.
That's right.
And they also found the crime rate there dropped dramatically.
Yeah, they cited that, and they had a good presentation, and the CEO presented with his technical guy.
Where is the company out of?
I forgot, because I don't
From
know.
Massachusetts and one of their gentlemen from.
Oh,
New
yeah,
Jersey.
that's right.
Okay.
New Jersey.
New Jersey.
He's from Jersey.
Yeah.
The tech guy is from Jersey.
That guy's from Jersey, but the company's on.
Yeah,
Yeah. That was really interesting how at the campus, the crime rate went down because the perpetrators found out that once the alarm was set, they weren't going to get away as easily as they thought they would.
And the selling point also was with our police, law enforcement, what they were intrigued by, that the real time, and they really monitor everything once it's locked in, so.
Daniel, the name of the school in Connecticut is Daniel.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was Madison, right?
Which is Madison, yes.
One other thing I'd like to ask is, I thought we were discussing having a running total of what's left in the American Rescue Plan funds. Have we discussed that before?
You mentioned it at our meeting, but I don't remember.
Was it at your meeting?
No,
No.
it was here. Yeah, it was, I don't remember how many meetings ago. It's been a couple of months that you
No,
asked that.
I don't have,
And I thought was it Paul Hiller that we said?
I think Paul was gonna
together?
get that
Yeah.
together, and get to us.
but we'll make the request again.
Okay.
Certainly. I think to make it to administrative assistants. It would be so good to do that.
Yeah, we just kind of
Just
wanted.
as a reminder, appreciate it. Because, you know, it's nice, we do that with, we do that with other funds.
Well, I know that this has a time limit on it.
Yeah.
too, So.
So he was gonna get that. It's full.
We have to vote on it when they're ready.
Yeah. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions, all those abstaining, nobody abstaining, so unanimously approved unanimously. All right, City Hall. Street Committee, no items. No report of the mayor. No report of the president. Legal Corporation Council billing, item 6.1.
Move to authorize a total of $3,981.25 to Corporation Counsel Teodoso Stanek LLC for services rendered per statement dated July 5th, 2022, with the funds coming from the following legal services account. Legal fees, $3,981.25.
Second.
Motion made, second, discussion. Any no discussion, all in favor? Opposed, so ordered unanimously. Item 6.2, Assistant Corporation Council billing.
Move to authorize a total payment of $2,046 to Assistant Corporation Counsel Thomas Galvin Cotter for services rendered per statements dated July 6, 2022, with funds to come from the legal services account. Legal fees, $2,046.
Second.
Motion made, second, discussion. Being no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so ordered unanimously. Item 7.1A, legislative role, there are no items. 8.1, financial business override, no items. 9.1, July statutory refunds.
Move that the report of the tax collector relative to the refund of taxes for a total amount of $3,559.09 be approved, and that the finance director be directed to make payments in accordance with the certified list received from the tax collector with funds to come from the statutory refunds account.
Second.
Motion made, second, discussion. Being no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so ordered unanimously. Item 9.2 has been removed from the agenda, and we'll take that up at a later date. 9.3, Sunnyside vote. Time out.
Now a brief break.
Word from our phone.
The meeting is in progress. I can't talk to you. Goodbye.
Hope that wasn't mine.
You were supposed to call me an hour ago.
Okay, on the record.
Yeah,
Don't
for.
miss John.
9.3, Sunnyside boat ramp permit refund.
Move to authorize the finance department to refund a Sunnyside boat ramp permit in the amount of $175 made payable to Corey and Patty Williams, 611 Saddle Ridge Road, Orange, Connecticut.
Second.
Okay, motion made second. Does somebody want to just discuss and explain why we are refunding this?
We're refunding it because the persons who paid the 175, their boat was larger, deeper, had a deeper draft than we have at the, to operate safely at the Sunnyside boat ramp. So in discussion with Ron Herrick, they sent a letter and discussed it that they'd like to get their money back because they won't be using the ramp, and Ron agreed.
It couldn't be used.
Right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so ordered unanimously. 9.4, funding for new light fixtures at Riverwalk, those technology.
Move to add the purchase of new light fixtures for downtown Riverwalk area to the capital improvement plan with funding in the amount of $84,200 to come from LoSiP.
Second.
Motion made, second, discussion.
Where are these lights going? Are they going on the walkway, or are they going around the whole area of the property down there?
They're new lights, not refurbished or secondhand. They're new, and they're taking the place of the lights that are there now.
Oh,
And then there's no further discussion, I mean, no further reasoning that we have, other than to say that some of them are in bad shape
Okay.
and just need replacement. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered unanimously. 9.5, steep grant for Shelton Skate Park.
Be it resolved, we'll move to approve the following resolution. Be it resolved that Mayor Mark A. Loretti be and hereby is authorized to accept on behalf of the city of Shelton a 2022 Connecticut Steep Small Town Economic Assistance Program grant in the amount of $250,000 for the construction of the Shelton Skate Park. And further resolved, Mayor Mark A. Loretti is hereby authorized to enter into and execute any and all agreements, contracts, and documents necessary to obtain said 2022 steep grant with the state of Connecticut.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion.
I just have a question from a risk perspective. Is this going to increase any of our premiums with regard to the park?
It will not. We had a skate park. It was on our insurance. It continues and remains on the insurance.
Okay, thanks.
With the 260, with the 200,000, you get less.
Yes.
I have a
I'll try
question. Is this being replaced in the same place or is it being relocated?
It's relocated.
In the sun?
Very-
Not under the bridge?
Under the boardwalk.
Nice.
The reason, my understanding is, the reason that the site underneath the Route 8 Bridge was not selected to go back there is because should the state again have to repair or do any work on the highway, we'd have to get out, take it off, put it again, and redo it. So we're applying for the grant. If we get the grant, then the plan is to work with the skateboarders.
Good.
And the skateboarders, I will tell you, are from this high.
Yep.
Because Anthony and I ran into two of them when we were down for my birthday party. We ran into two of them down there, and Anthony took them under his wing and showed them around and told them what we're doing, so they knew what the heck was going on. But a lot of people are interested in skateboarding.
It's community.
And site, Kelly has been working with their group, and she has this map, include this map, which shows you at the, and you see it in green, it shows you at the end of the Veterans Memorial Park, the prospective at this point location. We are submitting this grant without a location specific. But we want to keep all our options open. So Kelly's working with them day to day and making good progress with the group. And I mean, I applaud the group, I applaud Kelly. It's going in the right direction. And they've also coordinated with the Veterans Memorial Park Monument Group and made sure, and they have said this will not interfere with anything that they're doing. So we're not going to step on anybody's toes.
Okay.
This is-
Hopefully it keeps the skateboarders from destroying other properties because they stay there, you know.
Right.
Well, it gives them a place to
Accommodate.
call their own and to own and
Yeah,
I applaud it. I think that it's a great.
It's a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
So, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered unanimously. Item 9.6, step grant for Houstonic River Walk extension along Houstonic River at 223 Canal Street.
Move to approve the following resolution. Be it resolved that Mayor Mark A. Loretti be and hereby is authorized to accept on behalf of the city of Shelton a 2022 Connecticut Steep Program grant in the amount of $250,000 for the extension of the Housatonic Riverwalk. And be it further resolved, the Mayor Mark A. Loretti is hereby authorized to enter into and execute any and all agreements, contracts, and documents necessary to obtain said steep grant with the state of Connecticut.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. Same concept, same, but different purpose.
And where does this goes up towards or past
It's
that?
towards the locks. It's going to continue on towards the locks behind the apartments.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered unanimously. Item 9.7, funding for touchless devices on the first floor of City Hall.
Move to appropriate an amount of $5,394.85 for touchless devices on the first floor of City Hall, with funding to come from contingency general account.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Would anybody want to explain what a touchless device is?
Faucets.
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 Things like that, toilets.
Toilet handles or whatever.
Unless you touch them, unless chance of passing an infection or causing a problem.
And why did we select, pray tell, just the first floor of City Hall?
That's where a big public bathroom is.
Exactly.
But what's funny, we don't have touchless paper towel dispensers.
Actually,
Well, maybe that could be-
actually, you can get those if you buy certain people's towels, they'll give it to you.
Yeah.
But right now, we wouldn't have towel dispensers that are there, the touchless ones.
Interesting. Something to look at.
When they work though, that's the bright side.
Okay.
Small steps.
Forget it.
Right, we're moving.
Moving forward. Progress.
Any other observations? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered unanimously. Item 9.8, funding for overages for air conditioning units at Center Stage.
Move to appropriate an amount of $1,318.19 for overages regarding the installation of permanent air conditioning units at Center Stage Theater, with funding to come from aldermanic bonding pursuant to section 7.16 of the city charter.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, discussion. You have in the packet.
Is the work completed at this point? Would this be the last overage? or
Yes,
is
it is. My understanding is, we took this up to date, May 26, 2022. Now, May 26, 2022 was in the previous fiscal year. So that's fiscal year 21-22. Our action now is to put this toward bonding in another fiscal year. We can't just go back and rescind that earlier motion because it's a different fiscal year. So we have to note this so that you know, you're aware that we're taking an action in a different fiscal year for the same project. It came in higher than they thought. And that was, as you recall, back then, that was an emergency. And they wanted assurances that they leased this property from us. And they wanted assurances that they were going to be able to carry out the terms of their lease and put out performances. So we had to get in there and do it. Right? Any other questions or observations?
They are having a show coming up at the end of the month. You should go see it.
Okay. All those in favor of?
Aye.
I have two cousins in the show, two Zacks.
Available for other.
Before I announce the results of the vote, are there any free tickets?
We should do the vote first and then.
There is a free show down at the park Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The Shakespeare show will be on.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered unanimously. Item 9.9, funding of various items for Shelton Public Schools.
Move to appropriate an amount of $17,865 for the purchase of the following items for the Shelton Public School System. Glass replacement of large window in Sunnyside School Library, $3,365. Painting of Shelton High School gymnasium walls, $7,200. Painting of Shelton High School gymnasium ceiling ductwork, $7,300, with funding to come from aldermanic bonding pursuant to section 7.16 of the city charter.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, discussion. I'm sure you're aware that in the gymnasium, the walls are open, the ceiling is open, and what's the maintenance guy's name there?
John Calhoun.
John Calhoun. John Calhoun, mayor likes him. Whatever he says, the mayor, wow, he just seems to roll over it. But John explains that up above the air ducts, it's so old that, it's chipping like and coming down on the floor. So kids are playing and got stuff all over the floor. So
Brand new floor.
they're gonna clean it.
It's gorgeous.
So it's a good purpose. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered unanimously. Item 9.10, funding for Shelton High School film stadium concession stand and restrooms.
Move to appropriate an amount of $50,000 for the refurbishment of Shelton High School spin stadium, concession stand, and restrooms, with funding to come from aldermanic bonding pursuant to section 7.16 of the city charter.
Second.
Motion made and seconded twice.
That makes
Double
four, that's
second.
a third.
All right, discussion. Discussion, any discussion?
This will upgrade the facilities, and they need to be done. They have been done in probably 40 years now. Especially the bathrooms for the ladies and the men, make them easier access, handicap access. And of course, we want to make sure everybody's safe when there's food service. So the food service end of it will be a place that can be kept clean and neat and meet all the regulations for the health department. And that's important, and we don't really get sick while we're out there. And we serve a lot of food through the evenings, the football games and other things that we have up there.
And beyond that, we have a beautiful facility up there, and right now, the concession stand actually takes away from that facility.
Yeah.
It's a sore thumb.
Yeah.
So that's something that's long overdue and should be done without waste.
It was a little precarious too, trying to lift those steam tables. I have a question. So we appropriated the 26,300 for the engineering. So the 50,000, is that an estimate of what the construction is going to be?
That is on my sheet as well, that question. And I think you and I can both, we'll ask the mayor to give us a response to that. I'm not sure whether 50,000 is going to be used for more engineering services or for construction services. So I'm not sure just how it's going to be used.
So this is in addition to the
In addition to the
26,300.
26,000, right?
Yeah, if we can get that clarified as far
Probably
as.
not the final request.
I
Right.
don't think so.
Yeah, well, if you go back, let me read you.
Yeah,
It's in here. And the mayor had said, and he always, when he does projects like this, he asks for startup money and then more money and explains as it goes along. So he said you could spend as much as $300,000 to $500,000, in a facility like this. He's not intended to do that, but, it could go more. So the only thing is we go along, we're not going to know what the intention is, where he's going to spend it. I think the engineering part of this is over.
okay.
It's probably over.
Many times we do
Do we know
things
the
ourselves.
status of the construction of this? Are we gearing for this to be open for the beginning of the football season? Is it going to be construction for during the fall?
Good question.
Well, our responsibility is to get the money in place that they need to go forward on it. And get the engineering services done, get the construction underway. I don't know when it's going to be finished. That to me is, we gotta do our share, our part.
Sure.
And get it done, and like you said, make the entire facility presentable and, you know, something that people.
We can ask those questions.
But I don't know, maybe the mayor can share that with us at some point.
Sure.
Pass it along.
I'm assuming there's a public building improvement committee is not gonna have anything to do with this project.
We would only need a public, approved building committee should the project exceed $500,000. And at this point, since the project doesn't appear to be going in that direction, to be that much, I don't think that it's the intent to appoint a building committee. But should it exceed that, we're gonna have to. But that's,
So the 50,000 that we're appropriating is just for the generic project.
at this point, and we'll ask the mayor to explain to us what he's going to do.
Okay,
Just so that we have a full explanation.
okay.
So as I sit here, I think it's going to be spent for construction services. We've got to buy things, we've got to put them in, some is gonna be done by our
We have to
people.
tear it down first.
Yeah, we gotta get the money, gotta get the money in there.
Tear down.
Gotta get the money in there so they can move.
Right.
No, if we don't approve the money, they're just gonna sit in their hands.
Right, I'm just curious why 50,000, like what's the
Right,
earmark?
this is the next sum that he wants to work with.
Yeah.
to move it.
I want to be clear, I'm not opposed to the money.
Right.
I just want to get this process moving
Yeah,
for the benefit of the school and the football team and the soccer team and the field hockey team and everybody else who's going to use this
yep,
facility, get the project going.
yeah. Well, Gary DeFilippo is appointed to oversee it. And he's working on it through the mayor and with the construction company.
So John, can Gary, in the future come and present like he did when he was doing the football? And just give us a status update on things so we have a better
Yeah,
understanding?
yeah, it's a good point. I don't know where he is at this point, but I think the board is interested in knowing where he is. So that's a legitimate question to ask him. Where are you and how are things going? So I will be glad to ask him to make a presentation or to give us, or at least send us a memo so that we all know where it is. Is that good enough?
That's
Yes,
perfect.
yeah.
Thank you.
I think we'll get a quicker answer if we do it that way.
Sure. Thank you.
Sure, glad to do it.
Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered unanimous. Item 9.11, reinstatement and third amendment to lease agreement between the city of Shelton and Comcast. Comcast Inc. Move, okay,
Move to approve the reinstatement and the third amendment to the lease agreement between the city of Shelton and Comcast. Further authorize Mayor Mark Galeretti to execute any and all documents necessary to effectuate the same.
Second.
okay, motion made and seconded. Let me state where we get a question. Kelly Masano is here, she's working on it, and she is willing to explain to you this whole thing. Kelly?
Okay, yes. 3,000, we entered into a lease with Comcast on lease, they were leasing a house, like structure at 216 Huntington Street. Later in the lease, during 2015, so the first term was a 10-year, and then they had 4 5-year extensions contained in the initial lease. They're now entering into their third extension. So it was 2010, 2010, 2015 was the first extension. Second extension, they added additional space to an outside area where they house a generator. And now they've asked us for the third extension of their lease. And that was in 2000. So it's actually, we're a little bit behind in getting them the reinstatement of their lease. But through a rather long negotiation, we're able to go back to the terms of setting the rental amount back to the original lease. In the second extension, we went to a fixed 2% per year increase. Now we're back to a floor of 4, with it also based on a CPI, with a max of a ceiling of 10% increase per year. So the first year of the renewal, 2000, we are at the floor of 4%. However, with the CPI being where it is, we've now increased it to 5.1%, and now we'll be looking at about an 8.2% increase going into the third year of their third extension. So it's rather a sizable increase. So it's going to be more profitable for the city.
Is there some reason why there's no numbers on this lease?
On which part? On the
Well,
reinstatement?
it doesn't even say the base of what the base was years ago. I mean, is there a legal reason that we don't have it in there?
Yes, because we're not, in the reinstatement, we're not going to tie it to numbers. When it's set at a fixed rate of 2%, we did give them a schedule. But because I do have a schedule, but because it's now going to fluctuate, unlike how it did during the last extension, we're going to just keep it based on the terms of the lease. And then that calculation will be done on it. And it runs on a CPI that goes June over June. So we'd be setting it for the July payment. Essentially, it's probably more like the number that comes out in July because of the way the CPI runs. And so it's just to reinstate those terms because in the last extension, we set it at a fixed 2%. So we want to just go back to the lease. That's why it's a reinstatement, the original 2000 lease. And we do have a schedule that accompanies it,
Okay.
which I can make available to you. But as I said, next year I won't, we won't.
No,
know
no, I
that
know why
number.
it's not, it's hard to figure.
So it's addition of the base and the CPI, not and or, like, with, you know, the.
It's
larger
depending what the
two or-
CPI is, because it's higher now, it's going to be based on the CPI, where years back when it was lower, it was at the floor 4%, until we went to the 2% fix for that second extension. Which was done when they added the additional area that they used.
I don't want to sound mundane, but I know there are different CPI indexes, and I'm sure that the contract will explain which one you.
It is in here, and it is actually the all items New York, New York.
Okay, any other questions? Is it ready to vote?
Yep.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered unanimously. I believe there are no items to public hearing, so I believe we're to the point of make a motion to go into executive session.
Before you do that, I have a moment. While we were talking, I did text Gary at the Flippo. He said the money is for the materials for the bathrooms, and to get started with the construction, we're mainly using city labor. So that's probably why it's lower than I would have thought it would be for this construction. So that's what Gary told us. I'm sure after you ask him to come and do a presentation of the plans and things, but that's the gist of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, a motion would be in order to go into executive session
So moved.
and invite Assistant Corporation Counsel. Anybody else?
Anyone who wants to stay? Administrative assistant.
Administrative assistant.
Okay,
Second.
Fran.
motion made, seconded, discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so ordered. We are in executive session at 6:15 PM.
We'll be done at 6:17.